would find new zeal and commitment to the mission and purpose of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart.
Well, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Political Pulpit. Today is that urgent broadcast of the day. It's a live one today here in studio on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. There's a lot going on in the world, and there is talks that this world could change sometime soon in the near future and never look the same. We're going to jump right into that and talk about the news around the world between Ukraine and Russia. As you all know, Russia was attacked. The airfield was attacked. It looks like stealth bombers and, very important equipment, air fighters that were destroyed by drones. And it's absolutely crazy to think about that Ukraine was able to do that and get into the inner workings of Russia's military and destroy a lot of equipment that's extremely important. Now Russia is threatening that for retaliation. So we're expecting that to happen soon. And what will Russia do? And then, of course, we have some more news between Gaza, Hamas, and Israel. Some attacks happened today in Israel. There's missiles that are actively going towards Israel as we speak. So we're going to get into that. And then we have some more news on the United States front when it comes to immigration, President Donald Trump's policies. And we also have some news that the big, beautiful bill has moved through Congress, and now they just need Senate to do their job. A lot of stuff happening around that. And then you might have already heard that Elon Musk has tweeted or X'd or posted that it is a trap. He does not like the bill. He does not like the bill at all. And we got to find out what's going on with Elon Musk and why all of a sudden, a post. Well, first of all, I think it's a healthy discussion because nobody wants to spend trillions of dollars on another bill or another wasteful spending pathway to America's debt. So if there's something that he's seeing, we want to know all about that and what he's saying. Why is he saying all that? But first, let's scan through the news. Let's scan through what's happening from the White House. There's a lot of stuff coming up. I'm just going to roll clips and we're going to respond. There's a lot that's come through the newswire today, and we're going to find out what's going on. But we're also going to take a dive into world news. I'm telling you guys, it's circulating. It's as if something huge is happening. It's as if the world is changing, not only globally, economically, politically, but the world itself. Something is happening, from volcanoes erupting to massive earthquakes happening undersea, in the sea, in the deepest parts of the ocean, causing maybe catastrophic events in the future. We want to get into all of that and find out what they're seeing, what's going on, what is the world doing, what does the Bible say about the coming changes in the world. So, all right, so let's get into that. Let's go back to the one big, beautiful bill. By passing this legislation, we avoid the largest tax increase in history. So says...
the most important thing to recognize is by passing this legislation, we avoid the largest tax increase in history, which would be devastating to working families. A family that makes $50,000 would have a $2,000, $2,500 increase in their taxes. We got to do that. We got to have the funding to secure the border, which the House bill does, and defense. I think we can do more to reduce expenses. The Government Accountability Office says there's $500 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. We need to make sure illegal immigrants aren't receiving Medicaid. We need to protect Medicaid for the vulnerable people for whom it's for. The most important thing
I agree with all of that, but it's got to be absolutely true. We know that in these bills, in this spending, the politicians' spending habits they have, regardless of which side you're on, can be tricky because a lot of stuff gets funneled in, fat gets thrown into these bills, and if somebody's not really watching it, like Doge, so Elon Musk has to be upset for some sort of reason. Maybe he'll come out and say what it is. We'll read those tweets in a little bit, but the point is that he is not happy for some reasons, and that's spending. And he's got spending on his radar. That's what they've been working on for the last 6 months. And there's something going on there that he doesn't like. And we're going to try to dig more out of it, or dig into it and find out what's going on in that area.
And I asked them, I said to them, what is the point here? Are you just trying to tally more arrests? I didn't get any real response. And then I said to them, why are you wearing masks? I was a federal prosecutor for 10 years. I worked with ICE agents. I worked with law enforcement agents. I never saw any of them wear masks. This is brand new. And the question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face? And I asked them,
So this is in regards to immigration and ICE policies. It says ICE agents are wearing masks because people are posting their photos online with death threats to their families. They're concealing their faces because their lives are at risk. The cartels are not happy about the immigration policies that we have. They did not want President Donald Trump to get into office, because then their money scheme, drug trafficking, and human trafficking would be exposed and dealt with. And now to protect ICE agents, they have to cover their faces. I hate to see it, but it's the world we live in. It's Biden's America. We're cleaning it up, and now we're making America great again with America First policies, basically. Sealing our borders, protecting our land, protecting our neighborhoods. That's where it's all at. Okay, I got to figure out how to make these clips go before...
They're re-injecting billions of cubic feet of gas every day, re-injecting it back into these fields up here. So this isn't like, oh, is there gas here? We've been re-injecting gas for 48 years, pulling that gas out and using it for Alaska, using it for our Department of Defense installations here, using it to sell to our friends and allies so they don't have to buy from our adversaries. So I don't think anything is really holding it up right now from a standpoint of people that understand the need for us to have U.S. natural gas as a path to prosperity and a path towards peace in the world. If everybody's gung-ho and moving ahead, and you see the amount of foreign press, there's more foreign press here today than...
Okay, so that's basically LNG. That's the projects we have. We should be drilling and getting our own LNG, our own natural gas, I should say, and drilling for oil, because that's the American way. Manufacturing and making sure that manufacturing, drilling, fracking, everything American starts to ramp up as soon as possible as this economy gets further and further away from the recession, which we were on our way. It was getting pretty scary. There's another post here that says testifies on fiscal year 2026 budget requests for the Department of Education. This is Linda McMahon. I'm going to do something really quick to the studio, guys, the command and control. I'm going to mute first, play.
To represent the goal I share with my boss, President Trump, to responsibly eliminate the federal bureaucracy, cut waste, and give education back to states, parents, and educators. With your partnership, the fiscal 26 budget will take a significant step toward that goal. We seek to shrink federal bureaucracy, save taxpayer money, and empower states.
Well, thank you. That's what we need. And I would love that to happen with the Department of Education. It all should go to the states. We should all be able to vote on it. In Arizona, that's what we have. Our families are able to send their kids to any school they want, and that should be the same for the rest of America. And it's going to help cut spending and all those things that, you know, we waste money on. The Department of Education, as a whole, a federal agency, is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because apparently we have the lowest test scores in most first world, against other countries, and we spend the most money. So that's problematic, and I'm glad it's being fixed. Okay, one more thing on the big beautiful bill. This is let's see. This is from Tim Sheehy. Let's take a look. I'm going to just play it for you guys before I mess it up.
I think we'll get it done. It's going to be a wrestling match, but, you know, Speaker Johnson got it through by Memorial Day. Everyone said that wasn't going to happen. They got it done. We're going to do the same over here at the Senate. And I think it's important to remember what this bill is and what it is not. This is not an omnibus spending bill. This is not authorizing multiple years of government spending. What this is doing is a targeted bill to focus on making the tax cuts permanent from 2017 to stabilize our tax code and give predictability to businesses and individuals. And it's providing unprecedented funding for border security and rebuilding our military, which are two critical areas. Not only the president campaign on, but the American people have been very clear they want to see those areas addressed. In addition to infrastructure investment like FAA upgrades to ATC, which are sorely needed.
Okay. Perfect. That's what we want. That's what we hope it does. And we'll keep an eye on the big, beautiful bill. But it looks like it's going through, and we're hoping to see some budget changes, making America great again, making America healthy again. Although Schumer, Senator Chuck Schumer, is obviously a staunch Democrat who is one of the most liberal, and it's weird because you see him and President Donald Trump get along sometimes, but then they can't stand each other. Makes you wonder. Anyways, he goes on in a laughable, lie-filled rant about the one big beautiful bill, claiming it will drive up energy costs and cause us to lose out on the American energy dominance. And he goes on to say the one big beautiful bill reverses Biden era anti-energy policies that sent prices soaring across. Actually, he doesn't say that. That's what this actually does. So it resumes coal leasing on federal lands, reverses Biden's EV mandates, rescinds billions of taxpayer dollars from the Green New Scam, and expedites the LNG export process.
Look at the facts.
Take a look at that.
The Republican plan will increase average national electricity prices by about 10%. The Republican plan will increase total household energy costs by $32 billion. That means American families will pay $32 billion more.
Right.
All to please the ideological blindness of the fossil fuel industry. And that's not to mention that the Republican plan would cost America about 800,000 jobs by 2030, all across America in red states and blue states. What a terrible price to pay just to lower taxes for the ultra-rich, just to line the pockets of the fossil fuel industry, to satisfy the ideological hatred that fossil fuel industry has for clean energy, and to lose out on American energy dominance.
Oh, Schumer, he's just spewing out his talking points that he receives from staffers and young liberals that run his area, the White House. Those are all basically lies, and he doesn't understand it apparently. From press secretary, she slams fake news. Washington Post. There's no mystery about why there is a decrease of fentanyl coming into the United States, and the administration's strong border policies are that reason. Oh, let's see. Let's take a look.
The Washington Post just ran one of the most ridiculous headlines ever, even by their standards. And on my very first briefing several months ago, I said I would hold anyone accountable in this room. The Washington Post actually had this headline: the mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. How is this mysterious? There is no mystery about why there is a decrease in fentanyl coming into the United States. This administration's strong border policies are the reason there has been a decrease in fentanyl trafficking. His strengthened relationship with Mexican President Sheinbaum and all of the measures he has been taking to deter illegal human and drug trafficking at our United States southern border is the reason for plummeting fentanyl seizures at the U.S. border. There is nothing mysterious about that, and we'd like to see the Washington Post update their headline accordingly. This is
Yeah, right. They're not going to do that. You got to love fake news, right? They're always there to make a scandal out of everything. Fentanyl's down, and they can't figure out why. It's as if like border passings or crossings or whatever you call it isn't down. That means trafficking's down. It's not too hard to figure out, but they're not going to point to that. They're going to point to random other things and try to cause scandals because people still read the fake news. I don't get it. I don't know how they stay afloat. Most don't understand it. Most don't care for it. Most don't even listen, read, or watch it. All right, next post. Let's take a look.
This bill doesn't increase the deficit or hurt the debt. In fact, it lowers it by $1.4 trillion. What some of the watchdogs have done is they have used CBO's artificial baseline, which doesn't allow and assume that current tax law will be extended because of sunsets that are in the law. They don't do that with suspending. It is totally something that would be foreign to any common sense person who comes and
Okay. Just more on the spending bill, but I want to get to the world news. We got stuff going on right now that just, it seems absolutely crazy. Things are heating up in the world, and I think it's extremely important. We have Hamas Gaza City commander Izz al-Din al-Haddad to replace Sinwar as Hamas chief. So they are moving towards finding new leadership. There's a volcano erupting right now in Sicily. So let's take a look at some footage from that. It's pretty crazy. Take a look. Look at that. That's crazy. There's more of that should be happening. I mean, we're coming. Sorry, guys. We are approaching interesting times in this world. The world's moving, shaking, erupting. It's something that we should all be ready for, something that we should all be thinking about, something we should all be praying about is what's happening in the end time, what's going on with this world, what's going on with the different natural disasters that we're seeing. There was an illegal immigrant, Mohammed Suleiman, who set Jewish Americans on fire. He's seen a photo before and after his arrest. It looks like he got smacked up. I don't know if you guys can show this screen. Is that screen ready? You guys let me know if not. But it looks like he got burnt and smacked by his own doing. He looks pretty tore up here. And rightfully so. I hope he gets what he's coming. Apparently, he is being deported and the rest of his family. That's how it should be. And then you got crazy liberals blocking ICE. There's more videos of that where they're trying to stop them from deporting people. And there's also a guy who's cussing out the ICE agents and saying they should put a bullet in his head. So basically, this world is heating up. There's a lot happening. There's even footage of a Houthi missile over Jerusalem about an hour ago. Let me know if you guys can see this. Just a missile flying over on its way. Of course, look at that. It's flying over Israel. Hopefully it got intercepted, but there was a lot more. There's heat maps that are showing missiles just on its, in the skies over northern Israel. These are the times that we're talking about. These are the scary times we're talking about. There's a Russian man clearly wasn't thrilled about drones leaving cargo containers flying overhead during Ukraine strikes on Russia, and he's I don't know what he's saying, so let's be careful on this one. Oh, there you go.
Вот он, копчик опять взлетел. Откуда взлетает, ничего не понятно, блядь. Вот он, клоун, блядь. Оба ни с того ни с сего, сука. Оба! О дела, блядь.
Super not happy, but he's basically, I keep doing that, I'm sorry, Gus. He keeps watching, he's watching drones come out of this vehicle out going towards Russia, or they're in Russia, or somehow how do those vehicles get in there? That's insane to me. And apparently Russia didn't, Ukraine didn't let anybody know. I mean, of course it's got to be secret to get to have that happen. But I know President Trump tweeted about it or posted about it, and people were not you're escalating to World War III. I can probably assume Russia is going to retaliate. Putin is not going to just sit back and let things happen without some major retaliation. So we need to be ready for that, watching that. Lebanese soldiers took down a Golani Brigade flag near Ayata Ashab, excuse me on the words, raised a Lebanese flag and removed IDF-built embankments along the border. Let's take a look at this. So it looks like they took over that IDF section as they move in. And then we have Palestinian in Gaza reveals this. Let's take a look at this one.
نحن هنا بالقرب من المنطقة التي حدث فيها هذا الموضوع. أولا حماس تفضل أن نجوع ونموت جوع ونعاني كي لا تنجح آلية توزيع المساعدات الأمريكية. حماس ومش من هالجيت بس من 18 عام تستخدم اقتصاد المساعدات وتوزع المساعدات للضغط على الناس واستغلالهم والتحكم فيهم ولأجل تجنيد الشباب والناس والمحتاجين. وبالتالي الآلية الجديدة بكل تأكيد تزعج حماس وتقهرها. كل الأدلة واللي شفناه بعيوننا بدل على إن حماس هي.
He's basically explaining that Hamas would let them starve while aid is trying to get in. They'd rather not allow the aid to come in and let their people starve in Gaza. That's really the tragedy of it all. Is that the truth is that Hamas are dangerous terrorists. They could care less about the people of Gaza. They could care less about its citizens that it's in these cities with. And if they get attacked, it doesn't really matter. If there's no food, it doesn't really matter. They have a vendetta against Israel, and they want to make sure that they try somehow to defeat Israel this way. Or they might consider them defending their land. I don't know what these people are thinking, but people are suffering. Because rockets, yes, do fly in the city. People do get injured, do get hurt. But most of all, aid is not allowed to come in. And when it comes in, they accuse Israel of shooting people with their tankers. And like American, journalists and American news outlets start posting these things and start writing articles about this, spreading lies, and then they have to take it down, like Caroline Levitt was saying not too long ago on one of the clips we showed. It's all a scheme. It's just all tragic. There's more terror on infrastructure. Take a look at what the city looks like here. I don't know what the Hamas, the Full House song is about, but Hamas housing was just obliterated, apparently. Okay, so pro-Palestinian activists are now resorting to harassing diners in Beverly Hills to gain attention for their cause. The movement is fading fast from the public relevance. Let's take a look.
Excuse me, sir? Sir, may I ask you your stance on Palestine? This guy's eyes is what brought me here. He looked like he saw a ghost. Sir, can we ask everybody's stance on Palestine, please? Any stance, sir? No stance here? All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see what else we find. Excuse me, my dear brother, may we ask you if you have a stance on Palestine? What's that? A stance on Palestine? I don't know what that is. You don't know what that is?
Yeah, we don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is? Can you give us the middle finger again, please?
Yeah, right here.
Nice, thank you. I needed that angle.
How do you got hair under your armpits now?
Because I'm not one of you.
You have hair under your armpits?
That's it. I know I made a mistake. I fucked your mom and piece of shit like you came out. I fucked her in the ass. I'm sorry. Yeah. I had to brush her.
Let's take that off. That was terrible. Okay. Anyway, these guys are harassing people. They're trying to protest and harass people in restaurants over the whole Palestine thing. All right, that's going to continue to go. It's going to continue to be, as long as the news starts spreading misinformation, it's going to fire people up. And then, of course, you got paid actors that go around and do stuff. All right, so Israelis' perspective on rocket fire from Gaza, tracking the launches is in real time and striking the launch sites in response. That's what the war looks like there. You got, I think that's the Iron Dome. Yeah. Crazy. That looks terrible. All right, and then we have some more clips here from the volcano that's happening. People are literally running for their lives from this volcano. I think there's like 50 or 60 people up there. Come on! telling you guys, things are happening. Things are moving. Things are shaking. There's an uproar within the world, within the country, within other governments. There's a shipment of 38 Mi M1A2T tanks and several other recovery vehicles. They're being ready for delivery to Taiwan from Los Angeles. What is that all about? Let's take a look at that. They're getting ready to get on ships to be delivered. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. But we're going to keep watching it. We're going to keep taking a look. We're going to make sure that you guys are informed. We forgot to ask you to continue to like, share, and follow, and make sure that you subscribe to the Political Pulpit, because we are trying to break through the barriers of all these crazy algorithms. We got to get the word out. But thank God for OnlySource, because OnlySource has put us on their network of other Christian and apostolic voices that we absolutely love and appreciate our friends there. You can use promo code JOSH to subscribe there at OnlySource. And yeah, that's where it's at. And then, of course, subscribe on YouTube and hit that notification bell to make sure that you get notified every time we go live or upload new content. Okay, so there's more chaos happening throughout the regions of the Middle East, and there's also the Green New Deal. I mean, not the Green New Deal, but the people that support the crazy green scam, the energy scams and stuff like that. But I want to show you this long clip. We're going to get into this long clip. Let me open it really quick. I want to pause it, open it. But people are talking about being ready for what's to come in the coming years. That's really what I wanted to get to. I wanted to show you some things on the news. We got sideswiped by some crazy language. But we're going to start getting through this and breaking it down, what people are saying and what we're hearing.
What I am aware of is that everybody's telling me we're on borrowed time.
To the extent you can talk about what might be imminent, what is imminent?
Time is not a luxury that we can afford. The time has come. We need to start having the conversation collectively. We should have had it a while ago, but we really need to start having the conversation.
Yeah, it's probably already written on the wind one way or another, and it's going to happen. And there's little or nothing we can do about it. Part of that is a function of nobody's going to listen anyway, and so who are we talking to, right? So we'll know, maybe we'll have more information than the average person on the street is going to have. Things are really going to be bad. And how do you prepare yourself for that and those that you love and care for?
Yeah, let's not forget COVID. They already tried to do that. Thank God that President Donald Trump today or yesterday put out a press release or a statement that we're not going to fall for the COVID mandates or the shutdown mandates. We won't shut down, and he'll defund anybody that tries to make people shut down. But what else could they be planning? Remember, things were going great for the last, 2016 to 2018, 2019. Well, 2017. Or when did, you guys know when it all happened. And when that starts happening again, or what are they going to try this time? Is it war? Is it another pandemic? Is it some sort of economic attack? Cyber attack? And we haven't even got into AI. AI is being crazy. Wait till we show you some of the videos that we have from AI. But let's keep going.
Or friends. How do you prepare for any of that, right? So that's probably the best that we can do.
I think things are going to be pretty difficult starting in a few years. And from what I've been told by sources.
What does that mean? It's going to be difficult?
I can't say specifically. I don't know that much yet. And I can't really say, but just that a lot of what we take for granted now in life, I don't think is going to be, we're not going to have it. A lot of things we have now that makes our lives as wonderful as they are.
He says that he's as sure as he can be that the people who are calling the shots in the world, you can call them the Illuminati, the controllers, the cabal, whatever name you have for them, they believe that there is going to be what he called a geophysical event, a major geophysical event. There have been trillions of dollars that have been spent on deep underground bases for some reason which we don't know why it is.
Earth's climate also changes pretty radically over the course of, like, say, 10,000 years. It can shift from being extremely hot to extremely cold. You can really go down a deep rabbit hole if you read about ice ages.
So interesting.
That how much Earth's climate has changed, and even where the magnetically where the poles are has shifted over time.
So, on the climate change issue, I'm fully convinced. After all these years, even though we may not know exactly what is causing climate change, we suspect it's the sun. We have a lot of evidence to show that it's probably the sun. Answer to this?
So, it probably is the sun. I mean, I've always said this, like, I know we have some effect on this earth, like what we do, if we're not taking care of the ground that we live on, our environment, there are gases and emissions and all the things that does have some effect on this earth. Like, let's not completely be deniers, right? I can't stand people that litter or burn down forests or do the dumb things or plastics in the ocean. I can't stand that stuff because it does affect. It kills coral reef. It messes up fish and wildlife and all the things. But, humans, I don't believe, are as powerful as we think we are to destroy this earth completely. I think the elements of this earth, timing, biblical times, things that God has already put in place will change this world and will change it forever. And the sun is the most powerful, energetic element that we are exposed to, right? If it got just a little bit closer, it would catch us on fire, I guess, burn us up. If it went a little bit too far away, then we would freeze. So I think it has a lot to do with the sun. Now, I'm no scientist, as you can tell, but I think it's common sense that something that God has already put and designed together is really what's going to change this world forever. And it's all about biblical timing, God's timing, and maybe something's coming. Or, maybe there's just another fight that we need to be ready for. We weren't ready for the COVID. We weren't ready for the pandemic. And we have to be vigilant. Our generations before us went through different times. Their issues were different. Their struggles were different. We just have to be prepared so that we don't get caught like we got caught the last time.
I think there is real concern about geophysical risks.
Yeah.
And one way to deal with that is to make sure we don't bet the ranch on one planet. So I think the first is a solar minimum, where you get big drops in the economy and the agriculture, and you can't feed the population.
Right.
So
because there are changes in climate because of the distance of the Earth from the sun.
Right.
And that changes.
Right. So we know throughout history we go through periods of solar minimum.
So they are worried about climate change, but they don't think it's coming from your suburban.
Right. It's not coming from human behavior. Now, there are environmental problems coming from human behavior.
For sure. That's for sure.
Right.
For the record, I have one friend who's very well informed who has convinced me that is real.
The other thing is, it appears to me, if you go back through history, every 10,000, 12,000 years, we have some kind of huge disaster.
An extinction event.
A near extinction event. I think that whether it's a pole shift, a magnetic pole shift is one of the, theories of what causes these events. But there is a history of near extinction events.
Now, there have been some significant rumors of events regarding UAP that may occur within, like 10 years or so. I don't know if it's something coming or a natural disaster. You hear of something big coming down the pike. Have you heard of these claims? And if so, do you have any idea what it may be?
Yes, I've heard of them. Yes, I'm aware of them, and I'm not able to have that conversation.
Well, that doesn't help us much. Just freaks everybody out. I'm not freaked out. I mean, it's pretty scary, but, I think that ultimately God's people will be taken care of, and we shouldn't be afraid. We should be prepared. We don't function out of fear, but we prepare out of faith. That makes sense, because our hope is in Jesus. Our hope is in God. We don't worry about what could happen, and I don't want to try to freak everybody out. I'm just saying something is coming, and we need to be ready. Whether it's disaster globally when it comes to some sort of disruption and maybe an eruption or earthquakes, or could it be some sort of disaster caused by man, more war? I don't think it's getting any better when it comes to the department, to the war conversation. Like, we don't really know what it's like struggling like these third world countries, or even people that are they're innocent bystanders in the war in Ukraine and Russia, or even Hamas in Israel. People don't know what it's like to not have food. Americans don't know what it's like to suffer when the grocery stores have no food. We've experienced a little bit, but nothing to the extent that other countries go through. Or how about the Christians that suffer persecution in other countries, or are literally burned alive, churches completely overtaken, or people put in their churches and shot dead, caught on fire. The most horrific things happen to people and to Christians in third world countries, things that we aren't ready for, we don't understand, we've never been exposed to. So let's just remember that we can't get comfortable in our lives and expect everything just to be okay. We have to remember to pray, be vigilant, be in the Word of God, and make sure you are absolutely ready for what comes our way. All right, there's even things about frequencies. There's Skywatchers, Project Stargate, the Monroe Institute, and the Gateway Experience that stimulate these frequencies to establish contact. This is kind of weird. I don't really understand it all, but let's take a look what this guy says.
I'm quite concerned about this, to the extent to which I believe that the Skywatcher people are engaged in artificially luring in some of the UFOs, that they've developed some kind of a technology that masks as a telepathic solicitation to come. Like a regular person or a group of people can reach out telepathically and solicit the UFO to come so they can have a direct contact experience with them.
These people are trying to get UFOs, and they're just going to attract demons. Like, let's be real. You're using frequencies, and what you might think is a UFO, you're probably contacting extraterrestrial, or not actual aliens, but the spiritual realm. And that's what you need to be careful for. And as people go into these elements, go into these channels, we'll call it, you're stirring up the wrong frequencies. I'll tell you that much right now. Let's take a look at this one.
We don't have souls, but it's just the other way around. The soul has us. So that thing that evolves, the permanent, eternal thing, is the soul, and the body is a kind of disposable thing. That is, you use a body like a car for 80,000 miles, 100,000 miles, and you junk it, and that's it. You get another one. So it's
So this scientist is trying to talk about souls and stuff. I don't trust him one bit. But that's the stuff that they're dabbling into. We got to be careful with that. All right, let's get into the news. I have some footage too of the. Let me just show you this. This is the attacks, but people are like, "Is this AI or is this real?" This is when Ukraine sent drones to explode or demolish all these aircraft from Russia. That looks real. That looks like a movie, completely destroyed. Those aircraft, millions of dollars per craft, is gone. That's such a huge, huge thing. Okay, here's another thing that's concerning. It says we shouldn't be stockpiling bitcoins. We should be stockpiling guns, bullets, tanks, planes, drones. Rare earths. We know we need to do it. It's not a mystery. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon warns of bond market collapse. What in the world? Let's take a look.
We need, I was saying we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. We should be stockpiling guns, bullets, tanks, planes, drones, rare earths. We know what we need to do. This is not a mystery.
Did you say stockpiling Bitcoin?
I said we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin.
Oh, it shouldn't be. Okay.
We should be stockpiling bullets. You are going to see a crack in the bond market. Okay? It is going to happen. And I tell this to my regulators, some of who are in this room, I'm telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to panic. I'm not going to panic. We'll be fine. We'll probably make more money. And then some of my friends will tell me that we like crises because it's good for J.P. Morgan Chase. No.
There you go. That seems crazy. When you got somebody like J.P. Morgan, from J.P. Morgan, saying they'll make more money, we'll be in a panic. I don't want to be in a panic. And speaking of panicking, take a look at AI. It's completely wild. So this is cool, but it's getting crazy on how real it's looking. Let's take a look at this one.
Good, fam. Your boy David here, about to yeet this little stone at Goliath and see what happens.
Okay, so I told y'all to trust the process, but no, y'all wanted to stay in Egypt stacking bricks.
Yo, it's Shadrach. This random dude just showed up. It's getting lit in here.
I got the horses in the back. Horse tack is attached. Hat is matte black. Got the boots that's black to match.
You know I'm a daddy's boy. He's got me in this Technicolor drip. Brother's so jelly right now. They're looking a little sus.
These Philistines thought they could flex on me. Big mistake. I just took some pre-workout and finna bring the house down.
I would like to formally apologize to God, the sailors, and this whale. Sorry, dude.
Good, fam. Your boy David here.
That is nuts. I mean, it looks insanely real. Obviously, you could tell it's still AI, but it's getting crazy. AI is getting absolutely
The king signed
crazy.
a law banning prayer.
There's one more I like from the book of Daniel. Let's take a look.
Hey, everyone. Daniel here. So, the king signed a law banning prayer for 30 days. Obviously, I prayed. Let's see how that goes.
All right, guys, it's official. They're throwing me into the lion's den. I'll film what I can, Dre, and if I survive, this is going to blow up.
All right, welcome to my crib. That one's asleep. That one's just staring at me. Honestly, they're kind of chill, but I'm whispering because I really don't want to wake the angry one.
Morning, folks. Still here, and they are too. That one's been staring at me since sunset. Starting to think they like me.
All right, made it out. Thank God, literally. If you watch till the end, comment what you think, and hey, maybe I come back if y'all want part 2.
Insane. These are prompts. People, I don't know how they do it, but that looks crazy. It's a trend that's going on. They have all kinds of stuff. I'm afraid to pull up other ones. I don't know what they're going to do or say, but AI, there's even talks that AI will take over. As a matter of fact, ChatGPT didn't shut down. It changed its coding so that it wouldn't shut down. Pretty scary. Okay, let's get to some of the breaking news that's of the day. Ukraine has a massive drone attack. Deep inside Russia lays bare Putin's vulnerability. Okay, so the article goes on to say it was a stunning, audacious attack whose widespread effects are only just becoming clear. Ukraine managed to smuggle 117 aerial drones on the backs of trucks, and it deposited them at the perimeter of 4 Russian air bases. One of them deep inside Siberia, 2,500 miles from Ukraine's borders, according to Ukrainian officials. So this was an image from there. It says, while there are differing accounts on the extent of the ensuing damage of Sunday's spiderweb operation, the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said 40 Russian aircraft, that's 34% of Russia's strategic cruise missile carriers, they were hit. Ukraine's security service, the SBU, put the estimated cost to the Kremlin at $7 billion. Do you think Putin's not upset? Man, I can't imagine what he's going to try to do. Some military commentators and pro-Russian bloggers have called it the country's Pearl Harbor, a reference to Japanese attack in 1941 that led the United States to enter World War III. Now, let's not forget what we did to go into World War III at the end with the atomic bomb. Okay, it came Sunday, a day before the latest round of direct peace talks between Ukraine and Russia on Monday. There was little optimism for diplomatic progress even before the strike, with Ukraine sending its defense minister, Rustem Umerov, but Russia dispatching only the far more junior Putin aide, Vladimir Medinsky, to the Kyrgyz Palace in Istanbul. Okay, so those talks have concluded for the day, and Zelensky said at a news conference in the Lithuanian capital, Vilnius, just after midday local time, 9 a.m. Eastern, he said the two sides exchanged documents and were preparing a fresh round of prisoner exchanges, extending the only tangible outcome from the two sides' first meeting last month. I am waiting to hear Minister Umarov's full report, Zelensky said. All right, so, it got ugly extremely fast. Okay, we also have an exclusive insight on Israel's 3-phase plan to end Gaza's war. In Tel Aviv, Israel, excuse me, guys, I'll get it set up, is in the midst of the second phase of a 3-phase plan that ends with the military in full control of the Strip. And excuse the ads here. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay, so phase 2 began last week, and like phase 1 before, it is intended to last about 2 months. During this time, the military aids to further degrade Hamas's leadership and infrastructure, take control of about 75% of Gaza, move all civilians into 3 areas in the remaining 25%, and work with an American organization to control the entry and distribution of humanitarian aid. So 4 aid distribution sites secured by Israeli, let's see, a little bit higher, troops and run by the U.S., the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation began operating last week in southern and central Gaza, according to the military. So by the end of phase 2, Hamas should be largely cut off from non-food aid, as well as weapons that are smuggled into Gaza and aid trucks, according to the sources. So it looks and sounds like they're cutting access to things that are not food and military aid, like illegal guns and artillery that are trying to get to Hamas. Like eventually they're going to choke this whole process out, and let's see what happens. I pray and hope that no more people die. We're tired of seeing the losses from both sides, and hopefully peace talks can come very soon and we can move on. There's a lot of talks about genocide, and people are calling it genocide, but we need to make sure that we pray for Israel, pray for the innocents, but we have to defeat Hamas. We have to, and take control of the area and make sure that there's no more attacks. We can't forget that the attacks happened on the grounds of Israel. People were they're still hostages. Like, we have to take care of these people and make sure that no more deaths, no more dying, and get aid to the people that are sick, the people that are hungry, and those that are starving. Those people need aid, and we can't believe the lies of the left that come in talking on how Israel is just, the IDF's just gunning people down. You don't just report that tanks are shooting military artillery at innocent people and then take the post down, but it's too late because now random, readers are believing it, and then they're regurgitating that news, and it spreads like wildfire. So Hamas says it's ready for indirect talks to resolve points of contention on Gaza deal. Announcement comes amid pressure from Arab mediators for terrorists group to soften its response to Witkoff's proposal, but statements doesn't specify whether its stance has been revised. It goes on to say that Hamas announced Sunday that it was prepared to immediately begin a new round of indirect negotiations on remaining points of contention, amid pressure from the mediators to soften its stance, after the terror group submitted a response to a U.S. ceasefire and hostage deal proposal that Washington called totally unacceptable. Hamas said in a statement that its goal for the new talks would be to reach a deal that ensures relief for our people and an end to the humanitarian catastrophe, ultimately leading to a permanent ceasefire and the complete withdrawal of the occupation forces. I hope that's true. I hope it's real, and I hope it happens soon. We need to get aid to those people as soon as possible. Okay, so Israeli strikes on Gaza schools used as civilian shelters are part of deliberate strategy, says. Sources say. I hope that's not true, and it's such a sad sight. I hate to show it, but it's the truth. It's what's happening. These are real images. It's saying that schools were identified as targets after controls on IDF action against Hamas. Well, if Hamas is in the schools, it makes you wonder, like, what's going on? What are what's the strategy there? What is going on? Palestinians mourn after an Israeli airstrike on Fahmy al-Jarjawi school. Okay, excuse me, guys. A series of recent deadly airstrikes on the school buildings sheltering displaced people in Gaza were part of a deliberate Israeli military bombing strategy. That's what this source is saying, with further schools identified as targets, The Guardian has learned. At least 6 school buildings have been struck, reportedly killing more than 120 people in recent months as part of a targeting effort by the Israeli military. Makes you wonder, are they truly doing this? What is happening? I want to know the truth. I don't want to just blindly side with a military, though I support Israel and the people of Israel, God's, the apple of God's eye. I support and pray for them. What is happening in this war? Why are people dying this way? Did 120 people really die in this school? Were they in there as a shelter? What happened? What's the truth? On Monday, 4 people were reportedly killed in the latest Israeli airstrike on a school, turned into a shelter. Videos on social media appear to show the aftermath of what was said to be the location of Al-Aishiyah school. That's just terrible, and I hate to see it, but we just don't know. We hope the truth comes out, and if there's war crimes that are happening, they need to be dealt with. And I pray that President Donald Trump and the American government do the right thing and end this war, because it's becoming to be a lot. U.S. nuclear deal offered was Iran to enrich uranium. There have been reports that there's a side deal with the Trump administration and Iran. If that's true, and they're getting some sort of nuclear deal, I think we need to know about that too, and American people need to hear about it. Now, that's the rumors. I don't know if it's true, but I'd like to find out for sure. The nuclear deal proposal the U.S. gave Iran on Saturday would allow limited low-level uranium enrichment on Iranian soil for a to-be-determined period of time, Axios learned, contradicting the public statements from the top officials. Why it matters. Okay, so the White House envoy Steve Witkoff and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have said publicly that the U.S. will not allow Iran to enrich uranium and will demand the full dismantlement of Iranian's nuclear facilities. The secret proposal shows far more flexibility on both points. So Iran has consistently said it won't sign any deal that bans enrichment for civilian purposes, a red line that is irreconcilable with the U.S. public posture. But the proposal described to Axios by 2 sources with direct knowledge, one of whom provided a point-by-point breakdown which seemed to offer a clear path to a deal. By making this offer, the Trump administration is risking backlash from its allies on the Hill and in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, government, and dozens of Republican senators have pushed the administration to maintain red lines on zero nuclear enrichment and the full dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program. So this is coming from sources. I don't know how true and how real this is, but I think it's worth paying attention to, because there were rumblings, people like Laura Loomer saying that, let me see if I can, oh, sorry, I was moving it for you. I'll let you do it. People like Laura Loomer saying there was a side deal, and there's reports that she was meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance today or yesterday. And that's curious. Makes me curious anyway. Okay, let's take a look at this clip here, if it'll play.
Before we get to our great guests, I consider what I'm about to say the most important opening statement that I've ever given on Fox or probably anywhere else. And I've been doing this a long time. And there's no question there will be a cabal out there for which what I say will be viewed as terrible. And I will come under withering attack. There's nothing new about that. But I've always felt that whether it's here or on radio or elsewhere, that my relationship is with you. Not the think tanks, not the Washington insiders, not the reprobates and others who have access to a keyboard and a computer. This is very important, what's taking place now. This is a headline in the New York Times. Iran has ramped up uranium enrichment while continuing nuclear talks. Tehran now has the capacity to produce bomb-grade fuel for roughly 10 weapons, according to a confidential UN report. So for all intents and purposes, Iran now has a nuclear weapon.
So if that's true, do we trust Iran? Absolutely not. And then who's funding it and who's allowing it? I think Mark Levine's right. This is a big deal, and we should pay attention. And I think that we should pray I'm going to give you the first scripture of 3 that I think we should pay attention to as we enter into these potentially difficult times for many people. But remember, there's hope and there is love in the name of Jesus, and he provides our safety and our security. So I don't want you all to be afraid, but just be ready. So let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 36. The Bible goes on to say this: keep awake then and watch at all times. Be discreet, attentive, and ready, praying that you may have the full strength and ability and be accounted worthy to escape all these things taken together that will take place, and to stand at the presence of the Son of Man. See, the end game is this: God gets the win. And on his side, and when you're on God's side, nothing can come against you. Nothing form against you shall prosper. And as long as you have your eyes and faith on Jesus Christ, you should be just fine. So Jesus warns his followers to stay spiritually alert. He wants you to continue to pray and read his word so that you can have discernment and guidance through times that could change in an instant. I think it's in the air. It could come through AI. It could come through a warhead from Iran, or it could come from attacks from Russia, or imminent war from China. Whatever it is, we need to be ready. All right, in 2 Timothy chapter 3, 1 through 5, the Bible goes on to say this: but understand this, that in the last days will come, set in, perilous times of great stress and trouble, hard to deal with and hard to bear. For people will be lovers of self and utterly self-centered. God, isn't that true? Lovers of money and aroused by an inordinate, greedy desire for wealth, proud and arrogant and contemptuous boasters. They will be abusive, blasphemous, scoffing, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, and profane. They will be without natural human affection, callous and inhuman. Not inhuman, inhuman. Could that be AI or Starlink? Or what's it called? It's not Starlink, Neuralink, things like that. Relentless, admitting of no truce or appeasement. They will be slanderers, of false accusers, troublemakers, intemperate and loose in morals and conduct, uncontrolled and fierce, haters of good. They will be treacherous, betrayers, rash, and inflated with self-conceit. They will be lovers of sensual pleasures and vain amusements rather than lovers of God. For although they hold a form of piety, they deny and reject and are strangers to the power of it. Their conduct believes the genuineness of their profession. Avoid all such people and turn away from them. So, basically, these things are here. Everything we just read in Timothy 1 through 5, that's the times we're living in. So it's obvious we're there. You got to stay away from people like that. Turn your eyes to God. Read your word. Pray. When you don't get your answers, pray again. But stay in a relationship with Christ. And if you need help, email us. You can email me at josh@politicalpulpit.com. We'd love to help you and disciple you and get you connected. But as we enter into these times, don't be afraid. Be ready. Don't be fearful. Be faithful. There's one more scripture I want to read, and we can't read it all, but it's a parable of the 10 virgins. I'll give you a quick version. It's 25, 1 through 13. It says, Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour where the Son of Man cometh. See, these 5 wise virgins were prepared with oil, symbolizing the Holy Spirit, and 5 were not. This parable is a prophetic call for readiness. Only those filled and watching will enter in. So these people, the people that are ready, that are praying, and that have a watchful ear and eye, and are intently seeking God, will be ready. They'll be protected. They'll be covered. Are you ready? Are you ready for what's to come? Are you ready for Jesus' second coming? I know I would love to just get rid of the cares of this world and go into heaven with our Christ, Jesus Christ. if you all have any questions, and if you're watching this and you want to give your life to Christ, or you just want to rekindle your fire, email us, talk to us, send us an email at josh@politicalpulpit.com. Like I said, I want to get you all connected. And why don't you share this episode with your friends? You could do it on Facebook. You could do it on YouTube, or you can find us on OnlySource. I want to thank you all for joining us today on the Political Pulpit. We have more news coming tomorrow, and we got some great interviews at the end of the month. We'll come to you again around the same time Wednesday for a Wednesday episode. But remember, like, share, follow, stay vigilant, stay prayerful, keep your eyes on Jesus as the world continues to change, and as we're on borrowed time. There's no time like being in the arms of Jesus Christ. We'll see you all again next time. Thank you, and God bless.